Hey there everyone, this is Vedant and you're watching The Modern Architect. I welcome you to Lumion Basics in 10 videos. In this video, we are going to get started into Lumion and take a look at the welcome screen and the benchmarking process. Now, before we do that, I request you to subscribe if you haven't already and turn on the notifications so that you don't miss any future updates in this tutorial. Now let's just go ahead and launch Lumion here. By the time it loads, I'd quickly go over a few pointers. Number 1. Lumion is a Windows-only program, so Mac users, you're out of luck. You can try Bootcamp, but I'm not going to go too much into detail about that here. Number 2. I'm going to cover this tutorial on Lumion 6. If you do have a different version of Lumion with you, don't worry, that's not a big deal. The basics are going to be the same. But if you do get stuck somewhere, please feel free to leave your query in the comments and I'll be more than willing to sort it out with you. And last, number 3, Lumion is very power intensive, so performance on your system or PC will vary from what you see here in this video, depending on the specifications of your computer. Now that Lumion has started, you should be greeted with this welcome screen. Let's walk through each option here and try to understand what we are dealing with. The first thing that I want you to bring your attention towards is this tab here at the bottom that looks like a meter of some sort. It says system speed here on the side. This is the benchmark utility. What this does is it runs a benchmark process to determine how well your system can handle Lumion. It analyzes your CPU, RAM, and graphics card to do that. Now with that being said, let's go ahead and fire up benchmarking. Now here we are on the benchmark results and you can notice straight away that we have bars for each of your system components like the RAM, the CPU, and the graphic card. Also, all these bars have different zones on them, red, yellow, and green. Basically, the more green you have on your results page, the more competent your machine is to handle Lumion. It's as simple as that. Now, Lumion 6 was not designed to work well with graphics card with less than 2 GB of memory. So that's why it's showing me this error down here. But it's alright, as long as you don't do anything too complicated, you should be fine. On the bottom here, we have this rerun benchmark button that lets you rerun the benchmark in case you have made a change in your system. Maybe you swapped in a new RAM or added an extra hard drive or something like that. I'll just go ahead and rerun the benchmark process just to give you guys an idea of what that will look like. So here we go. A small note while this finishes. If this was the first time that you have ever started Lumion on your computer, you might see the benchmark run first. So just keep that in mind. Now with the benchmarking done, let's hit this OK button here and go back to the welcome screen. Now here we are back at the welcome screen. So let's take a look at what we've got. On the top here, you have this current language button, which you can use to change the language in which you are going to use Lumion. Below that, you have these 4 tabs: New, Examples, Load Scenes, and Load Scenes and Models. Let's take a look at the New tab here. Under the New tab, you have 9 scene presets that you can use for creating a scene. You can use these presets to mimic the look of the site whose model you're going to be working on. To use one of these presets, you simply have to single click on it and it takes you right into that preset. I clicked on the Planes preset and here I am inside it. Similarly, you can choose any one of the 9 that best suit your needs for the scene. After the New tab, let's take a look at the Examples tab. If you have seen the last video, I told you that Lumion comes with certain example scenes built into it. Now here we have got 9 example scenes with Lumion 6. Let me show you what these scenes do when you open one of them. So let's just go ahead and open this Villa Cabrera scene right here in the middle. As you can see, this is a fully built scene that lets you fly around and see what you can build inside of Lumion. Now don't worry about the movement controls just yet, I'll be covering those in a later video. As you can see, these example scenes let you see for yourself what can be done using Lumion. Now for fun's sake, let's just go ahead and take a look at another such an example. Let's take a look at Transworth House here. So here's a completely built Lumion environment of Transworth House. Let's go ahead and take a look inside. Now I don't know for sure if it looks really like this from inside, but I must say, less is definitely more. Pretty cool, huh? Now let's take a look at this Load Scenes tab over here. What this does is it keeps a live memory of the files that you have opened recently so that you can access them quickly. And last, let's take a look at the Load Scenes and Models tab here. What this does is that it lets you go ahead and search for Lumion files or other 3D models that you might have saved on your computer or your system. It can be older files that you have saved somewhere and want to reopen them. This tab lets you access all of those files. Let's quickly try to open a file using this Load Scene and Models button here. As you can see, it gives out a dialog box that you can use to browse for the file that you wish to open. I'm going to open this file right here. Just double click on it or select it and hit OK. It gives you a small thumbnail of the particular scene, and once you hit this OK button here, it takes you right into that scene. The last thing that we need to take a look at for this video is the settings tab here at the bottom. Let's go and click on it to access the Lumion settings page. On the settings page, the first thing that you're going to see is this bunch of toggle buttons. The first one here on the left toggles the high quality trees and grass in editor. What this will do is that if turned on, it will render all the trees and grass, basically the landscaping elements, in higher quality. The second button is the tablet input mode. So let's say if you have a touch enabled PC, you can toggle this button on to use Lumion in tablet mode. Next up is the enable inverted up-down camera pan. This is something that we will look at in a later video when we talk about movement controls. The fourth button here is the high quality terrain in editor. Similar to the first button, this will enable you to render terrain elements like ground, mud, sand in higher quality. The fifth button will help you to limit the size of a texture used in the model to a certain degree. This comes in handy if you are running short on system memory, that is that your RAM is not big enough. And the last button is the mute sounds in editor. Now, Lumion library comes with a lot of sounds that you can use in walkthroughs. If you take a look at some of my older videos, you'll hear sounds of people talking or cars zooming around in the background. Now this button will help you to mute those sound effects in the editor so that you don't have to keep hearing them again and again while you're still working on the scene. Below the toggle buttons, we have the editor quality selector. Here you can select on what quality you want your scene to render in the editor. More stars equal better quality. After that, we have the editor resolution. If you have a higher resolution display, this setting will let you take advantage of that by using each and every pixel to fill in more detail into the scene. And lastly, we have the measurement option, wherein you can choose if you want to work in meters or in feet. Once you have everything set up the way you like, simply click on this OK button down here to go back to the welcome screen. A quick pro tip before leaving the settings page: the more quality you try to add to your editor, the more stressful it will be for your system. So what I like to do while creating a scene is to keep everything to a bare minimum level, just to save on my computer getting taxed by too much detail. Once I have the scene ready for presentation, only then will I enable higher detailing in the scene. That way, not only my presentations look good, I save up on valuable time because Lumion doesn't lag and I get a much smoother workflow. With that, we conclude the first of the 10 videos in this series. I hope it was easy enough to follow. I strongly recommend that you try this out by yourself. Please like this video, leave a comment and subscribe, as it helps me a lot and makes you awesome for doing it. It's been nice, and I'll see you next time.